I love stealing content. Wait a second, that's the wrong script. Commentary is an interesting genre to me, mainly because the word commentary can mean so many different things to so many different people. Like I said in my last video, there are so many different types of commentary that it's impossible to say one person's content encapsulates the entirety of commentary. Well, unless it's my videos. Help the effort to reach 1 million subscribers so I can blow up on YouTube, blow up my YouTube play button, and show everyone that I'm the best commentary channel ever. Moving on. I'm not going to bother with all the theatrics for this intro, because this video is supposed to be a lot less serious than my other ones. Mainly because this situation isn't that deep. Like, it's bad, but more like, wow, this person's an idiot bad, instead of, wow, they need to arrest this bad. Oh, oranges, you sweet summer child. You haven't even gotten to the part where Triangle Woman stalks a guy for 2 years. Long-form video essays on YouTube are some of the most informative and entertaining videos on the site. Many people would agree that deep dive into popular brands and people is already very interesting, as we usually get to see a completely different side of that brand or person that we wouldn't normally see. But deep dives into obscure stuff is even better. Going down the unknown rabbit hole is just so exciting. This is a roundabout way to say that iilluminaughtii makes some very good content. From both an entertainment and information aspect, there's a perfect middle ground that stops my ADHD ass from wanting to click off the video and go to sleep. Clearly I'm not alone, as iilluminaughtii has managed to reach 1.6 million subscribers, which, if you didn't know by now, is a lot of people. That is the biggest stadium in London multiplied 17 times. Now, putting that into context makes what I'm about to say come as no surprise. She got a big head over it. I'm not saying everyone with that sub count gets a huge ego. I'm saying that iilluminaughtii has one. Iilluminaughtii, how do I... Yeah, let me put that in CTS real quick. I'm saying Triangle Woman did. Now, what could have made to so many people from Harley TBS to Turkey Tom make videos on Triangle Woman? Well, she tried to claim an editing style. Our little story starts on April the 20th with a tweet made by Triangle Woman.
Not legal eagle editors approaching my editors to take my video style, and when they didn't give up the info, they literally copied it. And by the way, I have the messages from my editors and found an email from them too. Just change the color from purple to blue, huh? Interesting.
Yes, interesting. Very interesting. Hey Blair, I work as an editor for Legal, and I was wondering if there was some After Effects plugin you guys used for this thing, like in the intro of your NFL video, where the lighter colors appear and stick out in 3D. We could probably recreate it, but we figured there was possibly a faster method you guys are using. Here's the video I'm talking about, just so you know what I mean.
So I went through my emails and found this just outright saying, yeah, I'm gonna do this, but if you could make it easier for me, I'd appreciate it.
Hang on, just wait a second. All joking aside, this isn't what the email says. Triangle Woman tries to paint this as a more malicious way than it actually is. Editors asking people how to recreate a certain effect for their videos is a lot more common than you'd actually think. I myself have asked editors from both my own and other people's channel how they do certain things because my editing sucks. People have been doing this since editing software has been a thing. That's how we all learn and get better. We copy people more successful than us and then eventually develop our own style. The point being, the dude in the email said it himself. He could probably recreate it. He was just wondering if there was a more efficient way to do so. It wasn't some mustache twirling villain telling Triangle Woman's editor how futile it was to hide the secrets of the world. It was a dude being friendly as possible, asking how she did something.
Also went to my Discord server to try and get more to cop the style.
Once again, she's painting this in a much worse way than it actually was. For full context of the chats, we have this. Here's the end of the Discord chat that Danny provided me. He was trying to edit a video of his own using DaVinci Resolve. He was just looking for some technical help, and then thanked everybody anyway. And about talking to the editing team, I've emailed them in the past but got no response, so I figured I'd try here. At Danny, this isn't really the place for that. This just to ask questions about the server, as the mod team isn't really involved into the editing. The editing team is busy people. It's true, I'm very busy. Oh well, thanks for your help. Bro was in chat for less than an hour asking how someone did an edit. Hell, it wasn't even for Legal Eagle's video. It was his own personal project. When I first saw this on my timeline, I thought, wow, this is an overreaction. Let me keep being nosy though. Triangle Woman is actually nice enough to leave examples of the stolen edit.
Example A, example B. And to be honest, I wouldn't have believed any of this was trying to replicate my videos, if not for the email and Discord stuff that was done preemptive to their video coming out. Like, talk about, can I copy your homework? Yeah, but just make it a little different. SMH.
Oh no. The edits on the left are incredibly common. If you've seen any power scaling video, you've seen something very similar. Oh, and the example on the right, also known as the most common editing thing on the planet. Here is a small list of every creator I've seen use this effect at least once. in mind, I don't even watch that many commentary YouTubers, so I've probably missed a lot of people. Triangle Woman trying to make it look like she is so revolutionary for these two styles makes me wonder how big your head has to be to think that you own the highlighting words and screen effect. Spoilers, you don't. Airstrike? What? Obviously, everyone clowning on her for thinking she owns two very common effects, but then Legal started fucking cooking her. At Triangle Woman, I think this is a big misunderstanding. Perhaps great minds think alike. No one on my team is trying to copy you. Without an exhaustive review of your channel, I believe we used those two styles before your channel did. We've used them for 3 to 4 years. Plus the two styles, a pseudo paper rip and a highlight, are extremely common on YouTube. The editor you're talking about didn't even design either of those two elements. Again, we've been using them for 3 to 4 years at this point. Danny is a great and thorough editor. When he reached out via email, he was hoping to find out what plugin your team used on a particular video, a very common practice amongst editors. He was not looking to copy anyone's style. YouTube is great because it's collaborative and the rising tide raises all ships. My team and I always try to provide original, high quality, informative content. We try to help others when they ask for it. There aren't really any trade secrets around here. I didn't know that Danny reached out to you, but I don't fault him for doing so. If anything, I think everyone on this platform should be a bit more open and sharing. Anyway, if you feel differently or want to hash it out, my DMs are open. She deleted the tweet. Someone also pointed out that Triangle Woman also dabbled in a little bit of plagiarism. Just to clarify, one of Legal Eagle's editors asked one of your editors what plugin they used for a personal video they were working on their own channel. I take plagiarism very seriously, so I'm interested in an explanation of what is wrong here. Personally, Triangle Woman, I define plagiarism as something a bit more specific. For example, copying someone else's documentary directly into your script.
Stop! He's already dead.
Professor Hugh Fudenberg.
Professor Fudenberg has long been controversial.
A man named Hugh Fudenberg, a former immunologist who has been long controversial.
In 1989, he was caught up in a bizarre lawsuit involving the Food and Drug Administration, which told him he had to stop injecting his autistic child patients with blood products.
In 1989, he was caught up in a bizarre lawsuit with the Food and Drug Administration, which told him he had to stop injecting his autistic patients with blood products.
Then in 1995, he was suspended from practicing medicine and made to pay a $10,000 fine for his misuse and misprescribing of controlled drugs.
Then in 1995, he was suspended from practicing medicine and made to pay a $10,000 fine for his misuse of prescribing controlled drugs.
To Legal Eagle, although I have apologized privately, I would like to do so now publicly. I'm sorry for making editing style claims that were inaccurate. I jumped the gun, though hastily, and should have messaged you privately to hash things out. I am sorry. I want to reach out and apologize for my tweet yesterday. I was quick to protect my editors when they brought this info to me, and I overreacted. I have deleted the tweets. Understood. Thanks for the apology, and thanks for deleting.
I'm glad she realized that she jumped the shark majorly and is going to correct that behavior. This little Twitter thing was really stupid, and both of the creators involved earn way too much money for either of them to actually care. This is where the exact opposite of what you said just happened. Please come up with the funny. I ran out. Wait, what? Triangle Woman made a 45-minute video about this, by the way. I'm gonna be so real, nobody cared that much. Yeah, people are making fun of you, but that's kind of it. Yes, I know people are demanding a response of her channel for her transgressions, and my ass is just wondering why. Oh no, someone had a bad take about something. Ooh, I care so much, and so should you. Ooh, you should so cancel Triangle Woman. Ooh. Triangle Woman starts the video by actually taking accountability for her silliness. That's great. She then walked it back later in the video, by the way.
I should have asked him what the emails were about, but I didn't, and I made a mistake, and plain and simple, I was wrong. So to Legal Eagle and team, I just want to reiterate that I messed up, and I'm sorry for any stress this may have caused you, and of course to your team. I know I apologized privately and removed the tweets with that apology, and I'm now publicly sharing that information with all of you.
She then begins to focus on what HB Bomber Guy said about the plagiarism.
Harris posted this video saying, and I quote, "Personally, at iilluminaughtii, I would define plagiarism as something a bit more specific. For example, copying someone else's documentary directly into your script." End quote. However, in his own video, he shows where I'm audibly quoting a direct line from the documentary, and even visually you can see it on the screen with the quotation marks.
But you cited the wrong source. Okay, time to start rubbing my two brain cells together. That quote was from the documentary she plagiarized, not the actual lawsuit, as the dude was paraphrasing the lawsuit in his documentary. That made no sense. Just look at the clip. Also, she doesn't play the video, almost as if it would make it obvious that she lied. Why did you do that? I think if she just owned up and said, yeah, I copied bro's homework, I'm a hypocrite and I won't do it again, people would have probably been fine to leave it alone. But doubling down just made her look like a petty idiot here. Then the video ends. Of course, that's not where it ended. There are nearly 30 full minutes to get through on top of the plagiarism allegations. While this small issue was still only on Twitter, multiple creators began stepping forward to describe their own personal experiences with Triangle Woman, or Blair for this section. Issues with pay, petty shit talking, manipulation, horrible living conditions, everything bad you could imagine probably is on here. All of this would be revealed to the public on top of the legal stuff. And while I know that I should take this seriously, part of me can't help but find it very funny that she took the first swing and ended up starting all of this. Like I said before, Blair had made a video responding to all of the Twitter drama she found herself in. If it were just about the copyright stuff, people still wouldn't be talking about it. But it's what she began to talk about after the fact that a lot of people like myself were interested in. Blair co-owned a channel called Sad Milk with 5 other creators. Their main talking points were focused on reacting to Reddit posts and threads, but the content really doesn't matter for the rest of this video, as Sad Milk would break up and go their separate ways, with the members involved either staying friends behind the scenes or no longer associating with each other. Originally, this had stayed private, but during the legal eagle stuff, the creators involved began making threads on Blair's treatment of them. Naturally, Blair did her best to respond to all the claims made about her, but honestly did a poor job by choosing to lie even more than she already had leading up to this point, and trying to paint most, if not all of the claims as fake or misinterpreted. This might have worked if the people who had made the threads weren't also creators of their own platforms to respond, which is exactly what they did. Idiot.
The issues I'm about to address cost me some of my closest friends at that time. When the Sad Milk channel was formed, I initially took the lead and I made the channel, I made the Discord, I got my mods from my server to help run the new Discord, I hired and managed video editors to help us produce more content. I was the one who was sourcing the topics and files for each video, and I was the one who had set the schedules for recording too. The reality of the situation was this: with creators in different time zones, it was logistically pretty hard to get everyone together at one place in one time. We tried to do it organically multiple times, but unfortunately someone would always end up missing from the recordings. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into a YouTube channel, and I bore the brunt of it for this project. And it wasn't something that I was doing to have total control, as some members have suggested.
The first issue already makes itself pretty clear. Blair barely backs up what she's saying with any proof. The only proof she had is an alleged timetable the group had used that she made, but other creators have said that they have no knowledge of any of this. No, I'm being dead serious here. Without proper context to what this doc is, how is anyone supposed to take this completely seriously? This was also the only evidence brought up regarding bearing most of the workload as well. She also said there was an issue with paying the editors, which was supposed to be handled equally by everyone in the group. According to her, she ended up paying all of the editors because no one else would.
Essentially, everyone in the group had 2 main responsibilities for Sad Milk. The first was that you had to show up to the scheduled recording, and the second was you had to pay your portion of the editor's fees as they arise. After the editors were paid, any earnings that were left in the channel were split into 6 equal pieces for each person. Since this was a project among friends, we all initially agreed to just split the earnings 6 ways, even though I was taking on some extra responsibilities. When it was time to pay the editors, I wasn't answered or told that they would just get it to me later. I had to do this at various points with a vast majority of the members of the group. They would eventually get around to reimbursing me only after I expressed in group meetings how I was upset that I have to do everything, and I also got stuck footing the bill too.
However, in the same video she disproves herself. I feel like a broken record of how many times I have to say this, but look at what's on screen. On the right you can see the dude giving a reason and then giving her the money for the bill. Hi. Yes, I am aware and I apologize. Tell you what, I'll transfer the money from my own account and figure out the expense replacement later. I should have done so sooner. It's not fair someone else had money out of pocket because of my slow bang. I'll send it today. I never intended for sad milk to be a back-burning thing, and I do hope it doesn't leave that as a lasting impression. I'm regretful that it took so long. Sad milk was not the only expense that was put on hold for longer than I would have liked. I will make sure not to be late on anything like this in the future. I assure you it's a one-time thing. I hope it doesn't impact our other endeavors in any way. Money sent, but she still tries to paint this as everyone being so irresponsible and leaving her of all the responsibility before then, while still saying this, showing a screenshot that completely contradicts that. I'm Di, thank you forever.
This is the first time in my life that I've been provoked to hit a woman.
I want to take a couple minutes to bring up the click and the many claims that he made on Twitter recently. The click brings up how, as he puts it, a very convenient series of videos resurfaced with him saying some not so savory things after he left Sad Milk. His old videos, as he puts it, aged like milk. They did. I'm not going to dive into it further. The information's out there if you so choose to look. And as Click stated, those videos are 11 to 14 years old. And to be perfectly clear here, those videos are not any of the reasons as to why we split ways in Sad Milk, as Click tries to insinuate. Even back in 2020, I had stated that those videos had nothing to do with the ending of Sad Milk. I was actually unaware of those videos at the time of our friendship, but had I been aware of them, that friendship would have likely ended sooner.
This part is probably the most disgusting to me. Not literally, we'll talk about that in a minute, but after everything with Shannon, finding out the full context behind this made a lot of people very upset. In the Click's response video, he goes in detail on how Blair had been stalking both his Discord that she left and digging up his old videos to use as ammo against him after the group disbanded. While this would have been a dick move already, what stands out to me is the unbelievable lengths Blair had gone to in order to smear this dude's image. Blair had a group chat that I can only assume was dedicated to talking shit about the Click after an event that I will talk about later. In this group chat, people were combing through videos that were nearly a decade old to justify their hatred for the guy. There are multiple screenshots of both Blair condoning and taking part in this behavior, and the things she found was so small, like the Click saying the R slur when he was a teen and still learning English. Apparently this was an issue because Blair never had that word in her vocabulary. Here's a screenshot of Blair using the word retarded, by the way. But she's quoting someone, so it's not bad. That is what you were going to say, right? I agree, but Blair tried to use the Click quoting someone saying the N-word as another reason for him being a bad person.
And to clarify, back when I was a teen, I said some stupid things I'm not particularly proud of, things I no longer support. The statement she vaguely refers to was me quoting and referencing a movie clip I liked 12 years ago. And at the time, I didn't really understand the concept of who can quote a bad word in reference to American culture.
It still gets worse because Blair could have left everything alone and moved on. She instead decided to make an alt account on Twitter and Reddit to try and cancel their Click over his past videos.
Here's another little funny post from the same account where she forgot to switch accounts and interacting with the Animal Crossing subreddit, at least according to us. Here it keeps going. Hey, listen, Blair, I'm putting this all together. What kind of cover-up is this? Click was saying these bad things, created differences. Click is a liar. And not to claim someone topic is friends with someone while pretending to be wholesome and good. This is all Blair replying to her own announcement under an alt account. And it keeps going. Click said the N-word and replies and claiming I'm not going to reply and I'm horrible. Here is a long post. I'm not gonna... You can pause it if you want to read the whole thing. I don't want to. Here is the same account, Doobieschmerz, on Twitter. This was an account I remember distinctly from 2020, 2021 that was relentlessly harassing myself, my friends, my colleagues, my streaming colleagues, past colleagues, ex-Sad Milk members, community members, staff, you name it. You name it. At the
What the fuck? I can't be the only one who is noticing some similarities here. For 2 years, Blair had been stalking the dude's account to try and start controversy over stuff that didn't matter. She paid someone $200 USD to look up dirt on him. That's so weird. And she must have known this too because she used an old account to spread all of this. Go outside, please. That's why what she says bothers me so much. Because deep down, she knows she just lied to me. To you actually. To everyone. And I still want to remind you that there are 30 minutes left and she has done nothing but lie about events. I wish I could have ended the video with that. But she just keeps talking. Where did all that vigor go? What happened to it being inexcusable even if it was 10 years ago? While I was writing this all down, this was my initial response to hearing all of this, by the way. Fucking hell, man.
I want to take a couple minutes to bring up the Click and the many claims that he made on Twitter recently. The Click brings up how, as he puts it, a very convenient series of videos resurfaced with him saying some not so savory things after he left Sad Milk. His old videos, as he puts it, aged like milk. They did. I'm not going to dive into it further. The information's out there if you so choose to look. And as Click stated, those videos are 11 to 14 years old. And to be perfectly clear here, those videos are not any of the reasons as to why we split ways in Sad Milk as Click tries to insinuate. Even back in 2020, I had stated that those videos had nothing to do with the ending of Sad Milk. I was actually unaware of those videos at the time of our friendship, but had I been aware of them, that friendship would have likely ended sooner.
I'd like to remind everyone that she has presented no evidence of him using this, and the other person involved apologized to him because it wasn't true.
I will be brief here, because there isn't really much substance. She claims I was tossing around slurs when gaming with friends. The only evidence she has in a group chat where she's talking to Aziwazi, among a few others. So it isn't an actual receipt of anything I did or said. It's not even a conversation I'm in, but just a few anonymous names venting in a group chat. However, to try to make sense of this, I actually asked Oz about this screenshot directly, and he had this to say. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the R-slur thing was about. I not only don't have any memories of it, but would only have to assume based on my past actions that I either A. over-embellished to further feel accepted of the tone of one instance, never of course realizing the damage it would cause. I'm sorry about this if that is the case. B. Blair and I had discussions in relation to this and had created a behind-the-scenes narrative of what to say. This was also very common when we lived under the same roof. C. There was also watching how Blair would twist and omit truths to people. While I don't have any direct proof of this, I will say that watching Blair just say the right amount of truth to people to get their praise and adoration may have swayed me to do the same. Edit, there's also a chance that you said this like way back in 2019. I think the language I used in the group chat was more to put distance between us, not great on my part. It would have to be one of those, or a mix, honestly, because I don't remember you saying it. Not saying it didn't happen, of course, but I don't have any memories of it. I'm sorry for the pain that comment cost, man. Apologies will never, of course, repair the actions that I have made, and when all this went down. I'm sure there is more shitty things I've done or said that I honestly, for the life of me, can't remember.
She begins to move on to the Discord server claims. According to the most honest person on the planet, Blair Triangle Woman, the Click had been complicit with a predator in his server.
The Click and I had shared Discord moderators around the time of Sad Milk being created. Due to the Click's inaction, our shared moderators had brought a situation in his server to my attention, a situation involving pedophilia. In Click's Discord, there was a 19-year-old bragging about a 12-year-old that he was claiming to be involved with. A moderator reached out to get more information on this situation. This 19-year-old then reiterates, and I am directly quoting this here, "I talked with my therapist about it, even too, and he told me as long as I don't touch her, it's okay." Click and his team did not pursue any immediate action to ban, restrict, or report this individual.
Alright, take it all down, she lied on the internet. Again, I don't really see why she would lie about any of this, especially when it's so easy to disprove. The Click showed that the same day he confessed to his crimes, the predator was removed from the server. So they handled it, and in my opinion, handled it well, methinks. What Blair won't tell you though is that she knew about this the day after it happened.
Well, hello there, it's Click from the future here. I was just finishing editing this video where I got a few more things from ex-staff of hers and other people that have burned that bridge. The first couple screenshots is from one of our ex-admins showing that they did indeed reach out to me about the issues in the Discord, and here is me confirming that I did indeed address it. Here is that same person talking to Blair about the information in the Discord, claiming that I did indeed take action when the information reached me.
She is aware that the predator was removed from the server and spent the next 2 years saying he had been in the server for months. Blair told anyone who would listen that the Click and his mod team were complicit with a predator being in the server. She would even say that it had been months in some screenshots. She didn't wait for a response like she said in the video. She actually told her mods to get out of there and leave the server, causing a huge mod war over a predator who had already been removed.
When I woke up, the staff spaces were in chaos. I assume she had asked her crossover staff to leave my server after the two teams clashed, fighting, tossing around odd allegations, and blame. Keep in mind, the creep that joined the VC was already banned for many hours. And this is what I saw when I woke up in the morning. Tons of messages in staff chats, arguments, white names from people leaving. I tried to get an explanation to what had happened, and it took me a good few hours to dig through everything, talk to people, try to de-escalate, and evaluate who had done wrong, and so on. the situation recap wasn't exactly presented to me on a silver platter.
The clique then had to explain to her what actually happened. She said she was proud of him and then set everything on fire. At around 17 minutes, she tried to then say that the clique was complicit with child.
In fact, this was right off the heels of one of his admins sharing pornographic content to people that they knew were minors. One thing that I would like to point out here is how these users were pushing pornographic materials to a minor who explicitly states that their parent is in the room with them, so they were hiding their phone. I would like to point out that a common tactic for abusers who are attempting to groom children is that they expose them to pornography and other sexual content in an attempt to desensitize the child.
Okay, so I'm just gonna let the dude speak for himself here.
This specific individual was removed from the team by me. The individual had been slowly spiraling, starting off with passive-aggressive behavior towards other staff and minor misdemeanors. When they failed to improve their behavior after a feedback session, and also got worse when they started sharing not safe for work artwork in staff chats, they were removed. I think it's an important specification that it was lewd artwork and not real life.
I'll provide Rain's page on grooming for further information. And if you're a child currently in a similar situation, I urge you to speak to a trusted adult or authorities. And again, resources will be provided below. Having to relook at these messages again still makes my stomach turn, even 3 years later. When Click didn't initially take action, I switched tactics with him and I called One Topic, who was and still is, to my understanding, one of the Click's closest friends on social media. I got into a call with both of them and I shared these files with them, and One Topic opened the files, he was horrified, and he said, and I quote, "I've read one and I don't want access to those screenshots." It was after this conversation that Click took action and reported and removed that individual from his server. I really wouldn't lightly make accusations like this unless I had seen them for myself. And let me be abundantly clear here, I am not trying to accuse the Click of pedophilia, nor do I have any reason to believe that he could be a pedophile. However, he cultivated an environment that was a breeding ground for inappropriate behavior with minors to occur, and that's exactly what happened. Having our shared moderators approach me in my server about this very serious situation in his server was extremely uncomfortable, but something the moderation team felt needed action that was not being taken. Furthermore, referring to these shared moderators that we had as spies, as he said on Twitter, it only dismisses the fact that he allowed this sexually explicit language to occur around minors. He referred to them as spies, which only shows that he didn't really see any issue with the state of his server.
Actually, yeah, they were. As mentioned earlier, in the group chat, there was just one of the staff dropping screenshots from the chat. Yikes. He just lied to his staff about what really happened. They want us to leave. Oh wait, I read that wrong. But he's still pinning it on me. Let me equip my spectacles real fast. Heya, so you may have noticed that the senior staff has left again. Basically, what has been going on is that OT and I left Sadmill. It was becoming an increasingly tense environment within the group, and at the end, we had no real option but to take a step back. With that change, it is not surprising that staff from Sad Milk was asked to leave, and I hold no grudge over it. The positive side is that we all have more freedom within our ranks to form this place as we want it to be, without too much influence from outside parties. Paired with that, I will now have more time on my hands and can help in day-to-day tasks. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in staff chats or in DMs. I apologize for this rocky road, and I hope it will be easier in the near future. I will also book yet another meeting, Lamau, in the near future. Love y'all. Okay, so not only are you a massive liar, you also can't read. What are you actually here for? I am so curious. Remember when I said multiple creators and showed multiple people on screen because you totally weren't watching this tabbed out while drawing? Yeah, I see you. Remember, it's important to take breaks sometimes, and more important to subscribe. Yes, sir, gotta. The next person Blair covers was a former employee, roommate, and tenant of Blair, which is a terrible combination to have, by the way. For context, Wonderstruck was fired for failing to meet deadlines, which was untrue. Just to finish work, he flew state to state to get his computer and worked through Christmas too, before then being fired unofficially, due to the reason stated before, even though he had a few more days to work on the project. You should watch Wonderstruck's video for much more detailed explanation of their earnings and what led up to them being fired. Notice how I'm skipping over the part with a lot of maths. You're welcome. Also, the entire section on Wonder's mental health doesn't need to be here. That's not a story I think you have the right to tell. Blair rants about how Wonder's dog was mistreated and attacked her own dog, highlighting an issue where Wonder's dog had left poop everywhere in the house. She leaves out this little part where Wonder and Oz media started cleaning up the second the dude was awake.
So after bringing him back to the house, I brought him to my bedroom where I passed out. However, to my discovery, James had eaten something as dogs do when they get out, and he was everywhere in my room. So I got up and I started cleaning. I put James outside the room while I cleaned it, and after I did, I brought him back in, and yet again, I fell asleep. I was beyond exhausted at this point. What I didn't know was that James had run downstairs when I put him out, and he everywhere downstairs as well. So when Blair claims I just let my dog use the restroom and did nothing to clean it up, I just didn't know he had used the bathroom downstairs. And at this point, I was already dead asleep. No, this wasn't malicious, and it was just a sincere accident, which seems hypocritical of Blair, who owns a special needs dog who suffered worse for way longer.
What's so odd to me is that this house was a fucking mess all the time.
These are the living conditions of Oz Media's home after Blair moved back in. Conditions he was embarrassed by. Boxes, trash, cups of mold, all sent to me again 2 years after I left Colorado. And this is my proof that once more, I never set foot in that room, nor did I have malicious intent when I lived there.
The sheer irony of someone complaining about a mess while being the one who made it look like a Redditor's room. Blair seems to break down at the end, and obviously I'm not gonna show that, but I'm not sure I can even take this too seriously.
At the end of Blair's video, she has what appears to be a heartfelt cry regarding your friendship. This section is roughly 3 minutes. She goes into detail about you, Casper, better times, and involves hobbies, etc. Would you like to share your thoughts on what you felt or thought when you first saw this?
There's not really a nice way that I can actually say this. I've watched her build those tears up on multiple occasions, whether it's she forgot she had a prior engagement, so she built up tears and said, I have to take Casper to the vet and I'm very scared, so I won't be able to make it, or for talking to other content creators that she's had issues with, of welling up those tears for apologies, for talking with employees, for talking with me or her roommates. It's something that I have watched her do on numerous occasions. If they were genuine, I mean, there's that, but I have a really hard time believing it with how many times I've actually seen her build those tears up.
If this is something someone who has lived with Blair for years is saying, it makes me really wonder if Blair is being 100% honest here, especially considering this video was mostly about debunking everything that she said in this video to shift blame to others. So I'm taking the easy way out and saying to come to your own conclusions. You should do that anyway, but it's more dramatic, leave me alone. And that's it. This is where I'll be ending my discussion surrounding Triangle Blair Woman, unless she makes this video go bye-bye or whatever, I don't know. I would give the whole talk about big creator being bad person shock horror, but it's kind of exhausting at this point. The iilluminaughtii channel was one I actually did watch and thought was pretty cool. It just makes me sad having to understand that watching a certain creator is gonna make me feel bad. And I know that's how a lot of people feel about the stuff that I talk about too, so I'm not gonna drag this out. I have VTubers to watch. Quick thank you to all my channel members: Tony, Temporal Catalyst, Maple, Clumpster Memes, Ryu, Kinda Snowy, Clapped Seal, Alec the Shark, Clown Keeper, Pwep, and Alien Hunter. You are all funding my second PS5 purchase, and that makes you incredibly based. If you'd like to see my videos a day early and get a special custom role on my server and play games with me, consider joining. The support on my new videos again is insane, as I am now at 25,000 subscribers. 100k this year is kinda looking possible.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
Thanks for watching the thing I made. Have a great day. See ya, lads. Oh, by the way, this was my last video for the month. Bye!